I listened to somebody say, "Oh no, we'll do this peace deal. It'll be so that the Russians will think that they won." Wow. So the Russians are really the dumbest people on the planet. They're children, and you can hand them a lollipop and tell them it's dinner or something like that. No, the Russians are the smartest people at the table right now. Their diplomatic corps is genius. Um, do they make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. But Russia knows exactly what's going on. Putin has said from the very beginning that this war won't be over until the root causes of the conflict are resolved permanently. So what the hell does Europe think they're going to do? You think Russia's going to sit there and go, okay, yeah, we were just kidding. We're not going to solve the root causes. We're going to leave Ukraine there so that you can pump them up 10 years from now and we can do this all over again. That isn't going to happen. There will be no peace deal that allows this to happen. None, zero. And Russia's in the driver's seat. There's no pressure that can be brought on Russia right now to make them change their mind. None. And right now we have the Trump administration solely focused on financial gain. I mean, traditional geopolitical thinking's out the window right now. Europe is nobody cares. That's just the reality. You don't matter. It's just over. Uh, they're not even coordinating with you, not even calling you. They had their meeting, with the Ukrainians, and Rubio doesn't even get to make a phone call to Europe. He doesn't get to go to Rubio, just gets to go back and play, Venezuela games. Witkoff and Jared are off to Moscow to do the thing. Why? It's all a business deal right now. And I'll tell you what, Russia has far greater business potential than Ukraine does. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to sway the United States. If Ukraine doesn't want to play games, then Russia will absorb Ukraine. And Trump has already acknowledged this. And then the United States will indirectly be able to reap the benefits of Ukrainian resources by having business deals with Russia. But this is coming down to one giant business deal. Is it going to succeed? I don't know. I don't know if Trump has the ability to pull this off, because there is a lot of political opposition to this in the United States. And there is midterm elections coming up. But the idea that you're going to strong arm Russia into accepting a deal that doesn't give Russia what it's going to get if it just continues fighting, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop this outcome on the battlefield, it's over. It's all over but the dying. I mean, there's a lot more Ukrainians that can be killed, and Russia tragically is willing to kill them if that's what it takes. But Europe is it doesn't even register anymore. It's embarrassing to be European today. Literally, I'm sorry, but you earned it. You earned it through your sheer incompetence and your lack of ethics and your lack of morality and your lack of anything. You allowed Ukraine to be sacrificed as a proxy, and now you're paying the price because there's nothing there. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to hear Germany and France and everybody talk about this 800,000 man army that they're going to build. Good luck. I wish you the best. Please build it. That'll just further your collapse because you can't afford it. And there are 800,000 Europeans ready to fight and die for your cause. Already in Germany, 16% of and I think that number's dropping as we speak. 16% are willing to die for Germany if they're invaded. How many of them are willing to die for Germany if Germany invades somebody else? So Europe's just irrelevant. It comes down to Trump, and can Trump, game this system? And we'll see. I'd like to know just what he has on Ukraine, because because remember, the problem with corruption is a two-way street. And if you start playing the corruption card, it may come home to roost, meaning you may find out things about American politicians you don't really want to find out. So Trump has to be a little bit clever here how he puts the pressure on the Ukrainians. And the good news, though, is that the CIA knows everything about Ukraine. We've owned Ukraine for a long time. We own every single one of these guys. They're all on our payroll. We have files on them. We know every dirty secret about them. Everybody. And we can play it, as we want. But like I said, at some point in time, somebody may not be willing just to sit there and quietly go down. They may start bringing out the receipts, and the receipts may be ugly for many American politicians, including Trump, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the foolish thing is that the complaint now, again, from the Europeans, not that it matters that much anymore, but that this can't be accepted in a peace now because it would look like capitulation. But again, if they wanted a more balanced outcome of the war, they could have done things earlier. I mean, if you go back to 2014 or February, a unity government was that would have been enough to solve the internal crisis in Minsk. With the Minsk agreement, they could have reintegrated Donbass into Ukraine. And now, after 3 years of having no diplomacy, uh, yeah, a deal only gets worse and worse. And still now, they don't want to call it. For me, this baffles me. They don't want to talk to Moscow, but they want a seat at the table at the negotiations. I'm not sure how, they would just sit there and condemn him. I'm not quite sure how that would actually pan out. But I saw now from a report now from General Saluzhny, yeah, in London, where he makes the argument that any peace deal that doesn't eventually result in the collapse of the Russian Empire is pointless, he said. So, but he's favorable of a peace agreement because it will give Ukraine time to rearm and prepare for future clashes, which again is a Minsk 3. It's very strange, given that the deal will only get worse the longer they actually
Russia will
advance.
never go for Minsk 3. To do Minsk 3, you have to have leverage on Russia, and there's nothing. I mean, I just came back from Russia. You know, we'll just look at some realities. Putin's getting ready to go to India this week, I believe, where they're going to, shake hands, embrace, and ink massive energy deals. So the idea that India is going to lock the Russian oil out of its market isn't going to happen. So that the secondary sanctions isn't going to work. China's already thumbed their nose at it. And what's the United States going to do? Go in a full-scale trade war with India right now? No. And he's going to buy, Russian weapons. They're going to talk about massive, trade. This is what BRICS means. Trump didn't beat BRICS. BRICS is still there. So, the pie in the sky thing about collapsing the Russian economy, understand this. Unlike Europe, the Russian economy has a fallback, meaning that let's just hypothetically say that all the sanctions hit the way they're supposed to hit. And Russia finds itself strapped for cash, can't afford this war. If it was just your traditional capitalist, finance-driven economy, you'd have a lot of problems. But see, all the big industries in Russia are joint stock companies where the state owns most, if not all, of the joint stock. Russia can militarize their economy that quick. Just a war mobilization economy overnight. Bam. Don't even miss a step. People's savings won't be there, won't be accessible. There'll be things that have to happen. People have to tighten their belt. But you can't beat Russia. You can't beat Russia. It just isn't going to happen. And so I don't know what Zelensky thinks is going to happen here. There's no pressure that can put Zelensky is over, finished, done. He has no viability. There will be no future in Ukraine. He will spend the rest of his life in London working for MI6, playing stupid games, trying to round up Banderist elements to infiltrate back into Ukraine and revive Ukrainian nationalism, things like this. The same thing that Khodorkovsky does, with his billions sitting there in London trying to mobilize Russian businessmen against Putin. It's an MI6 fantasy, a wet dream. It isn't going to happen. There will be no peace deal the way Europe thinks there's going to be, one of the way what Ukraine wants. What there will be is unconditional surrender. Now, it might be packaged so it sounds like a peace deal, but this war doesn't end until Russia gets 100% of everything at once. And the longer this goes on, Russia's appetite grows. Just the reality of it. Russia's not going to yield on any of this. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, the appetite growing is, I've seen some indications of this as well when in the past they used the language of cities being taken in Sumy or Kharkov. Now they're saying liberated, which is kind of an indication that the demands for a peaceful settlement will only grow, I guess, the longer this goes on.